difficult. Guys, it's kind of become my therapy.
Yeah. Take it away.
Hi, Mum. 2 little words I'd waited what felt like an eternity to hear. And there they were. Just sitting, staring at me from my computer screen. The day I had dreamt of for so long had finally arrived. My boy, taken from me such a long time ago, was back and calling me Mom. I didn't know where to start or what to say. So, I took a deep breath and with very shaky hands wrote, "Hello, sweetheart." And our first conversation in over 16 years began. You see, I'm what's known in the family justice system as a birth mum. The children I gave birth to, loved, nurtured and raised were removed from me by the local authority and placed for adoption. Convinced I was unable to protect them from the violence and abuse I received at the hands of my ex-partner, they were sent away to live with people that could keep them safe. I was no longer their mum.
So their contribution is going to go up by around £100 a year in their take-home pay in terms of the impact of this change.
Okay, an additional £100 a year. So let's take somebody who's on 100 grand a year. What difference would it make to them?
So they pay around just under £6,000 in national insurance, and they're going to pay an additional £1,100. So it is a larger rise for them, proportionately, given the higher level of income. But it's just not, as much of a rise as if there was more tax on through the income tax system.
Okay, all right. No, it's just good just to get a kind of real-life example. So if you're on around £16,000 take-home pay, which I think everyone could agree is not a lot of money, and certainly the level of gratitude that most of the nation have for people working in social care is huge. It would be an extra £100 a year that they would be asked to pay, and if you were earning £100,000 a year, I'm just choosing round figures here, then it would be an additional £1,100 a year. So it just gives some kind of sense of it. I want to come back to Siobhan if she can stay with us about where she would like to see the money spent, but Stuart is back with us. Morning, Stuart.
Good morning, thanks for having me on.
No, not at all, not at all. So, 2 things, Stuart. Your thoughts on the way this money is proposed to be raised, and also where do you think we need to be investing in?
Well, I think over a 40 or 45-year career, you're going to have to expect a tax increase, and I think with the COVID situation, there was always going to be a risk of this happening. Given that we're looking at inflationary pressures of 8%. The problem that I have is I don't believe that the extra funding is going to go directly into the pockets of the many excellent care home staff that help our vulnerable relatives and things. I believe a lot of the issues is around how we fund our public sector pensions. For instance, if you look, Rishi Sunak toyed with the idea of removing the triple lock on the state pension. For many in Scotland and the UK, that's the only source of income as a pensioner, so that would have risen at 8% with the inflation. But what they've done is they've capped that to 2.5%, so they've called it the double lock.
Yeah, it's been suspended. Stuart, just bringing you back though to this national insurance increase, if that goes through, and the likelihood is that it will go through, of course, because the Conservative majority is such that there's not really a chance that it won't. £1.1 billion, we are told, will come to Scotland. It will be up to the Scottish Government to decide how to spend that. How should they spend it?
Well, I think they should spend it on frontline services and improving the income of staff, raising the standards of care that I think we'd all like to have when we reach the point where we possibly have to go into a care home or have home help. I believe that money isn't being spent in that way. I think you have politicians, you've got MSPs on a final salary scheme of 40th, 50th. If they're saying that the state pension is costing, they're saving 4%, there was no mention that for the likes of former politicians, retired police officers, nurses, etc., doctors, retired, there's been no mention that their public sector pensions are to be frozen. If I were them, I'd be expecting an 8% pay rise. So I don't necessarily think that the money is going directly to the people who should be rewarded. I mean, £16,000 a year sounds, that is draconian salary for the job that they do. Basically.
Well, let me come back to Shona Thompson then from the GMB. Where would you like to see this money, or whatever money might be available to go into the NHS and social care? Where would you like to see it go, Shona?
Well, I'd like to see the very welcome money, but not through the National Insurance contribution.
Yeah. No, I'm totally registering that from you, Shona. Totally registering that. But if it does come,
if we go to Kate, we go to the understaffing and the underpaid, which are very unpaid. I mean, the GMB have had a campaign going on for a Fight for 15 campaign to make sure that every social care worker, we're lobbying the government all the time for £15 minimum an hour for social care workers. And if anything, this last 18 months has proven that these workers deserve that. I mean, they've got triple SD registration fees to pay, they've got numerous things to pay. They don't, they've not had the luxury. A lot of these workers are out on their own, working all over the country, and they have went through a horrendous time with a lot of them with no support, showing them, that you have to do that job, and it deserves a better rate of pay. And we just need more staff in the local authorities, need more funding for more staffing.
My own family has benefited from it, Shona. I will never underestimate the value of that job, I can tell you from a very personal point of view. Shona, thank you very much indeed. Shona Thompson, GMB convener for Glasgow Health and Social Care Partnership. She would at least like some money to go into wage increase for people who are working in social care. Where would you like to see investment in our health and social care system? 80295 is the text number. 08085 92 95 00. Glenn in Ayrshire says it's again the low-lying fruit, the middle class, that will pay the burden for the lazy and careless, along with the super rich. Seems to me if you work hard and save, you get hammered. If you're lazy and squander, or super rich and able to afford a good accountant, you're a beneficiary. Politicians waste money they never earn and keep coming back for more. Aileen says pensioners are being hit right, left and centre. As a waspy woman, having paid 45 years of national insurance contributions, I won't even get a full pension. Plus, start paying more for care. The changes in how people's pension is calculated means some will be far worse off. Gilda's happy to pay more tax. The NHS has been there for me over the last 2 years, exactly when I needed them, and they continue to be there for me. I think admin who's running NHS needs looked at, says Sandra. Carers themselves to pay for the people that they care for. It's absolutely daft, says Irene. We've got Doris and Callum just waiting to speak, but let me go back to Andy Collier, political commentator. Andy, in terms of the Scottish Government, they've made it very plain that they do not support the way that this money will be raised. It's regressive. They say that it is disproportionately affecting those who can least afford it. So that is their sort of ideological position on it. However, if it comes, they'll still have a decision as to how to disperse this money.
They will indeed, and I do have some sympathy with the SNP position on this. It is a regressive tax. There are other taxes, and we've discussed some of them in the last few minutes that could have been raised. A wealth tax, possibly capital gains tax, possibly a kind of hypothecated social charge would be another way that it could be done. But they will, at the end of the day, get the £1.1 billion. It is a not insignificant sum of money which they will have available to spend. Of course, in Scotland, personal care is already free, although there are plenty of other costs associated with being in a care home, so that doesn't mean it's entirely free to anybody who goes into one, but it will give them a good bit more money to play with. And it's been said this morning already, as we know, Hamza Yusuf has said that the money will be hypothecated into health and social care. It won't be spent on anything else, and it's a good chunk of money. I think Scotland actually has almost certainly got the best health system of the four UK nations and regions already, and I think this will make it even better. Again, that doesn't mean it doesn't have its problems. Of course it's got its problems, and this money will help hugely. But at the end of the day, health and social care, they're always going to be money pits. You'll never ever be able to put enough money into either of these things, but this, I think, will make a difference.
So where are the options as to where they could deploy this money? I mean, it could be a straight-off wage increase for those lower-paid people working in not just social care, but I think that's at the forefront of everyone's mind.
Yes, indeed, that is one possibility. I suspect quite a lot of it will go into reducing waiting lists, because everywhere that has an NHS has got a waiting list. So somewhere will go there. It may be deployed in other areas too. That at the end of the day, is the decision that the Scottish Government will discuss and will come to a conclusion on. But it is inevitably all going to be spent, I think, now on health and social care, and a good thing too, frankly, because these things are vital to all of us. I got a friend in London whose mother is in a care home now with dementia, and they are paying £1,200 a week to keep her in care. That's a horrendous sum of money for anybody to have to pay. I don't think that problem is the same in Scotland, because, as I say, we do already have free personal care. But this will make a difference, and hopefully it will make a difference right across the whole spectrum of health and of care homes.
Okay. I think it's free personal care at home, isn't it? Not necessarily in residential care.
I think there is some element paid.
I'm hesitating there because I'm not entirely clear, but it's just when you said it, something in my mind pinged.
No, I think it's also